It's that time of the month, besties. Today is not about my messy confessions. It's my favorite. It's about yours. Take the heat off of me for once, Jesus Christ. Now, these confessions aren't as dramatic as your last ones, but they're like weirdly worse. Sorry. Like more concerning. Sorry, just calling you out because I love you. This is Confessions of a Wellish Listener. As you guys are very well aware, this month is all about identity and self-concept. So that's what these questions are all about. I asked you guys a series of questions about the gap between who you say you want to be and how you're actually showing up in your everyday life. And your answers were very telling of the importance of the conversation that we've been talking about. So I'm going to give you guys 2 of your confessions and we'll yap about that for a little bit, and then I'm going to answer 2 listener questions. So let's not waste a moment of our time because these ones were so much fun. Okay, so one of the questions I asked you guys was, what's a way you act around other people that doesn't fully feel like you? And I asked this question because I feel like this is when our roles come up a lot. Like, this is how we see the way that the identity we want to be isn't the identity we're showing up as. When we take inventory of how we're showing up in situations that we're around other people. Because when we're alone, when we're just by ourselves, there's no pressure to people please or self abandon or show up in the way that people expect us to show up. But when we're with other people and we have the influence of their, whether we're aware of them or not, judgments, perceptions of who we are, we start molding into the roles that we're expected to play, into the identity of what is safe compared to what is actually truly us. With that said, the answer that I selected for this one really, really depicts that exact thing. This person said, not sharing things about myself. And I thought it was so interesting, and it's also very relatable. I am the same exact way, which is probably why I gravitated towards this answer. But I just thought, yes, like most of us don't do that. And we think that it's okay. Not that it's not okay, but we think that it's us being a good listener, or it's us wanting to be interested in other people more than we want to be interesting. And those are very good qualities to have. Like, that is not something that you don't want to be. But at the same time, are you not showing who you are because it's easier to hide behind letting other people talk than to show your own personality and be vulnerable in that way? This one is also so interesting because you're not being fake. Like, maybe you're somebody that used to people please and now you don't people please, but you're not saying much in situations and you're still hiding. You're still withholding your true personality. That it's like you're on the way to being more genuine, but you're not fully there yet. And that's how you end up in relationships, friendships with people that aren't really that in alignment with you. And you end up feeling disconnected and misunderstood and like you're the odd man out often because you're not giving yourself the opportunity to let the people that aren't in alignment with you repel from your life, because that's uncomfortable and it's scary, and we're programmed to be kind and make sure other people like us, and that's what we know feels good. So that's obviously what we gravitate towards, is making sure people like us and don't have bad impressions of us. But the truth is, if you're being kind and you are being mindful to, of course, not hurt anybody, but you're moving in a way that honors you, and people don't like that, that repels the people that aren't in alignment with you from your life. And it will draw in the people that are. And then you end up in friendships and relationships with people that genuinely fulfill you. They understand you because their brain works in the same way. You can have deep conversations with them because you connect in that way. You can have fun together because you guys have the same type of fun. But instead, we play it safe and we want people to like us, and the friends or the relationship that we're in didn't do anything wrong to us, so we feel guilty for trying to get out of it. And it doesn't mean that you have to cut it off necessarily, but start showing up genuinely and allow it to play out however it's meant to play out. If it's meant to stand the test of time, it will. But the truth is, in those relationships that you feel like you can't fully be yourself, you never were fully there to begin with. They never even got the opportunity to meet that true you. And maybe you will be more in alignment with people than you realize. Or maybe you're giving everybody an equal opportunity to make choices that are best for them, and that might not be your friendship or relationship. Okay, next let's do a question. And this one literally kicked me in the fucking teeth. Hit my gut so hard I almost exploded. It's literally so real, and you can feel the vulnerability in the question, so I had to share this one. So it says, "Why do I feel like I have so much potential, but nothing in my life actually reflects it?" It's like I have to sit with it for a second cuz again, I just relate to it so much. Maybe that's wrong. Maybe I'm realizing now as I'm talking to you guys that I'm picking ones that I really relate to, but I mean, I have to say that because you're not alone, and I feel this to my core. And I tell you that too to tell you that it's something that I genuinely have an answer for because it's something that I work on constantly. And the truth is because potential feels like you're making progress. Like potential feels like you're doing something. It's comfortable because it lets you believe something about yourself without having to have the hard evidence in order to prove it to you or like prove it to people in your life. But I feel like a lot of the time it comes back to needing to prove it to yourself. Because then the second you start actually acting on it, that's when you're at risk. Like that's when the thing that's in your head that you think that you're capable of, and you can so picture it and you can feel it and you know it's meant for you. Now you're taking action and you're seeing the results or lack thereof roll in or not. And that's now reality. And you're collecting data of reality. And that means that you can fail. And that's why so many of us portray that we're full of potential without ever actually taking any action because it creates the illusion that that's who you are when it might not be. It's scary to become someone with proof because it means that you might be wrong. It means that that might not be your path. And it might not be your path, not just because you fail and it's not meant for you, but it might also not be meant for you because maybe you'll try it and you won't like it. And you will realize that it's not something for you. And then you have to turn around and be like, oh, remember how I was like hyping about like being this thing and doing this thing, and you guys saw me and you guys saw me doing the actions of this thing, and then yeah, hi, just kidding. I actually hate it. Hee hee ha ha. And now I have to like stop it entirely, and like that makes you feel like a quitter. And that's not fun. My best example for this is when I was a personal trainer that I spent $7,000 of my money. I had two jobs. I worked my 9 to 5 job that I work now, and I also was a server on the weekends. I had no life, but I had to do that in order to pay for this course that taught me how to become an online trainer. And I did that for a while. I did it for a couple years. And I had clients and I made money from it and I enjoyed it when I did it, but I it wasn't me. It wasn't me to be a coach. It wasn't me to teach people about fitness. I did it because I liked the social media side of it. I liked the content creation of it, not because I was passionate about the thing that I was doing, but in order to make it a business, in order to make myself credible, I had to be the coach. I had to get certified. I had to do all of these things. And it just wasn't me. And it was hard to transition and put an end to something that I had been doing. It was like admitting failure. So if you feel full of potential and you have nothing to show for it, it's possible that you're not even doing anything. Like if you actually take genuine inventory of the actions that you're taking, is it all in your head? Or do you actually have hard evidence that you've been putting in constantly to make the thing happen? And are you deciding that you're not getting results because of externals that are out of your control? Or are you paying attention to what you can control and what you said you were going to do? For example, I can't control who follows me. I can't control who subscribes to the podcast, but I can control my output. I can control the quality of my work. I can control how I show up. I can control how I get better at editing or what I'm talking to you guys about or paying attention to what you guys like. And I can be proud of the results that I get from that, of the work that I put in there, focusing on what I control compared to the external validation of it all. I feel like my answer was kind of all over the place. So, simply put, if you feel full of potential, but your life doesn't actually reflect it, it's possible that you're not putting in action or consistent action. You're constantly changing the plan because you want to make sure that you get it right, because it's easier to stay in the potential and in the planning than to move yourself into reality and potentially be wrong and potentially fail. For the second confession, I cheated. I have to pick two. I can't let them go. One of them was just so heartfelt and so vulnerable and just so good. I've never heard it worded like this before, and I loved it. And the second one was just so real and so relatable, and so I had to pick both. The question that I asked you guys was, what's something you keep doing even though you want to change it? And I asked you guys this because I just feel like this is something so many of us do, is we sit around and we think about our identity and we think about who we want to be and we think about how we perceive ourselves and we think about how the rest of the world perceives us. And no matter what we come up with the way we want to be, I want to be a person that is strong-willed. I want to be a person that is more go with the flow. I want to be less judgmental. I want to be a person that goes to the gym. I want to be a person that shows up on social media. Whatever it is your thing is, then you go out into the world and you're still afraid to post. You don't make the time to take pictures. You don't go to the gym. You are lazy and want to just lay there instead because it feels good to just lay there instead. Or you can't consistently keep with it. You get into a situation that you should be setting a boundary and you get scared of people's opinion, and so you just people please instead. It happens to us constantly. And so the first answer that I want to talk to you guys about is the real relatable one, and that is skipping the gym. That was one of the examples I just gave, even because it's just so real that we constantly say that we want to do that. We want to make sure that we're consistent with it, and we turn around and we skip it anyways. Why is that? The number one reason that we skip the gym and we feel so guilty about it, that I personally feel, this is my opinion, but I think that the biggest reason that this happens is because we're trying to pack habits into our life and add them onto what we already have going on, that it just feels like another chore compared to first identifying with a person that goes to the gym and then taking actions that align with it. We think that if we pack the habits into our life, that eventually we're going to transform into that person, that we're going to cross a threshold and be like, now I'm a person that goes to the gym because I packed this habit into my life and I worked like a machine and I did it every single time without failing, or even if it wasn't perfect, I still did it more times than not. And that means that now I've transformed into a person that goes to the gym. But in reality, the only way that habits are formed is if you identify with it first. Self-improvement works backwards compared to the way that we're taught how everything else happens. If you want good grades, you have to work hard and then you can get the good grade. A plus B equals C. But self-improvement works opposite. It's C equals B and A. That you have to be able to say, I identify as a person that is physically active. And one of the things that a person that's physically active does in my world, in my perception, is go to the gym. I say in my perception because maybe that's not what yours does. Maybe somebody that's physically active in your world just takes the stairs instead of the elevator. But for my perception, for sense, like what your perception is that a person that's physically active goes to the gym. So that is then your cue to start collecting evidence that you are that kind of person that goes to the gym. Now, some more real world advice that I have for you. Like I just said, I was a personal trainer. So, like, what I can give to you from that experience and from my experience of falling on and off the gym over the 10 years that I've been going to the gym is to say that you have to have a bad day plan. What is the least thing that you could do? The minimum thing that I could do is make sure I go for a walk. That's something that I can always get done no matter how busy my schedule is. Even if I walk outside for 10 minutes, I can count that as some sort of movement throughout my day. Or maybe I had a really bad mental day. I feel emotionally exhausted. I can do a 10-minute, even if it's 10 minutes, that's all I'm saying. Like, it would be nice if you did it longer, but even if it's a short little yoga routine at home, put on somebody on YouTube. I recommend Charlie Follows. I love her. She's for all levels, but works you up to like higher levels so it feels like you can progress with her. I think she's great. And you can relax and spend time with yourself and do something for yourself to try to combat what might have been a heavy day. But then you also have your really good days, and those are the days that you actually go to the gym and do what you said you were going to do. I really like the mentality of fuck your mood, follow your plan. Like, fuck the fact that you feel a certain type of way. You said you were going to do this, so you're going to do that. And that's not you not honoring your feelings. It's you trusting yourself. It's you building that self-trust and following through on what you said that you were going to do and being a person of your word. Now, that's not going to be perfect. That you're not going to do that every single time. Sometimes you are going to cave to your mood, and that's when you default to those bad day plans. But being able to keep that in the forefront of your mind and do things for your long term goals, not your short term feelings, a lot of the time is how you're able to start to move in the direction of being a person that goes to the gym. And one other tip that I think really helps with the flexibility at the forefront of your mind is that I have like adjustable dumbbells at home. I have bands. I have things, ankle weights. I am prepared to work out at home if I can't fit a gym workout into my schedule, which does sometimes happen. I had a lot of things on my plate yesterday, and one of them was that I wanted to go to the gym and I hadn't been the day before. And so I knew I needed to go. So instead of skipping it entirely, I did the workout at home. Maybe it wasn't the same caliber of a workout that I would have gotten at the gym, but it was still intense. I was still sweating. And if you can't do your gym workout with just dumbbells and modify, look up a YouTube workout and do something like that. It's better to do something than to do nothing at all because that is the type of person that lives an active lifestyle. And if that's your why for why you want to go to the gym, that you want to be a person that's healthy, you want to take care of your physical fitness, it's better for your mental health if you're staying active because when you don't stay active, your mental health goes down the toilet. That's what happens to me. But even if it's something about what you look like, just making sure that you're doing the things that will get you closer to that goal, even if it's minuscule that day, that's going to be better built up over time than skipping, going, skipping, going. The other confession on this one was that like deep, vulnerable, really, really interesting perspective. And that is that this person said, not taking myself seriously when I try to improve things. I would love some more insight on this. Like, I just think it's so, it's such an interesting perspective. Like, it's not even self sabotage. It's like you don't believe that you are somebody that can do what you said you were going to do. You don't believe that you can change. You don't believe maybe that you're worth changing for. I think that's something that's been like really at the forefront of my mind recently is the self-love of it all. That like I feel a lot of the time when I'm trying to improve or I'm trying to change things, it's because I want to be a certain type of person. Like I want the outside world to perceive me a certain way. I want to like meet this certain caliber instead of it being for the sole purpose of loving myself. And that's what this kind of reminds me of is that if you don't take yourself seriously when you're trying to improve things, it tells me that you don't have self-compassion. You don't think you can do it. And again, it just comes back to the identity so much. Like that you have to choose, even if you don't believe that you can do the thing that you said that you were going to do yet, you have to choose it anyways. Like if that's something that you want to do, you have to choose it first and then go out into the world and collect the evidence. And then over time, you'll start to believe that you are capable of it. But you have to commit to that consistency. Like, even though you're not taking yourself seriously, you say, I'm just going to do it anyways. Fuck it. Just for the experiment of it all. I said I want to do this thing. And so I'm just going to do it. I said I want to read 10 pages of self-improvement every day, and maybe I feel like, what am I even trying to do right now? Like, who do I think I am? What do I think I'm doing this for, or whatever? But I'm just gonna say fuck it and do it and see what happens. Collect the evidence. Do it for a month. Do it for a week. See what happens. See how you feel. See if it shifts your perspective. See if you go out into the world differently and have a different mindset because you just tried it. Even if you didn't take yourself seriously every single time you did it, but you just did it for the fuck of it all. And then over time, you were like, oh my God, wait, actually, I did do that thing. And now I feel good because I did that thing. And I'm capable of doing that thing. I think you would be surprised how quickly you did take yourself seriously. Like how quickly you did start to believe in yourself if you really committed to the consistency of it and tried to collect the evidence behind the thing that you're trying to do. Okay, last question is very relevant to everything that we've been talking about. So I, of course, had to choose it because I just think that it's really important to address. And it says, how do I know if I'm being my real self or just playing a role? And I want to pick it because being fake or like being real, either way you want to look at it, has been something that I've been passionate about since I was about a freshman in college. I think that like that was the hill that I died on. Like that I was always like, you gotta be real, you gotta be real, fuck being fake. Like it was a huge theme in my life. And it's interesting to me the way that so many of us are showing up thinking that we're being real because we're following the role that we've been in for so long and we don't realize that it's a role. And so lo and behold, we're actually not being genuine to our true selves. And that we actually have to take the time to get to know who our real self is and who this role that we've been playing is. The long and short of it is if you feel like you are shrinking or performing or overthinking, it's probably a role. If you feel uncomfortable in any way, if you feel like literally the overthinking part is so big. Like I can picture being out with friends and being like, oh, I should be saying this thing, or I should be doing this funny thing, or I should be making sure that I'm being entertaining, or whatever, I want to, or even like I think of like in a relationship, like I don't want to have too many feelings. I want to make sure that I'm happy and I'm chill and I'm cool and I'm go with the flow, whatever, whatever narrative it is, making sure I'm X, that's you playing a role. I don't want to be too X role. God, I'm not enough role. Your real self doesn't feel like something that you have to manage. You can just exist. You can just show up and you can just know that you can be liked for that being, for just existing, for just being that person. You don't have to do anything in order to earn people's acceptance of you. You can just be who you are, not do anything for people or be certain ways to entertain anybody and be liked for just existing. That's possible. That exists. It feels a lot more natural, but it does feel a little bit more exposing. I'll give you that. It feels a lot more vulnerable, It feels uncomfortable because you're being yourself and you're afraid of rejection and you've never showed up that way before. And so that feels scary and weird, but it's a different kind of scary and weird than it is when you're trying to play the role that you've always played. When you're acting in a certain way because you feel nervous. And so your survival strategy to keep yourself safe is to be responsible or to play the middleman or to be the peacekeeper or to follow the rules, whatever it is you're doing out of fear compared to being afraid because you're showing up genuinely as yourself, as you would if you weren't concerned about other people's perceptions or judgments. And if you still feel unclear about that, go listen to the episode that came out on March 9th, The Identity You Built to Feel Accepted. You'll get a lot of clarity there. I think that the biggest lie that we tell ourselves when it comes to identity work is that if we just had more discipline, then we would get farther. That's not true. That's hustle culture. That's what we're taught, capitalism, whatever it is you want to fucking call it. That is a lie. Like, that is just not the truth. That's my opinion. You might not agree with that opinion, and that's okay. But that's not how I want to live. I don't want to live in a world that I feel like I am weak minded because I'm not a machine, because I don't show up perfectly every single day. I understand that I have emotions, that things happen, that life plays out how it's going to play out, and that I have to be able to be fluid and flexible with those things, and that I can still accomplish what I want to accomplish without perfection. Because at the end of the day, most of the time, what we need to do is just update who we think we are. We need to allow that evolution. Every day, we're intaking new information and processing things differently and having new ideas and having new perceptions. And yet, we still show up the same ways and the same patterns and the same habits because that's how we're expected to show up. Whether we expect that of ourselves or other people expect it of us, we follow the identity of who we are over time compared to who are we today. Because at the end of the day, we are always going to act in alignment with who we identify as, even if that's not the identity you want. Thank you for all of your confessions and questions. I'm going to keep putting up more question boxes and prompts for you guys. Make sure to fill them out. I always keep them anonymous. I love hearing from you. And clearly, we all have so much to unpack. So thank God we can all just sit here and do it together. I love you all endlessly, and I will talk to you on Monday. Bye.